Hello, audience. This is episode 3 of All About Mortgages. And in this episode, our guest is Ms. Wanita Dryer, and she is with
Fidelity National Financial,
Yeah,
Chicago Title.
yes. And also, we're here with Ricardo, Sherard, my son, also a mortgage broker with Expert Home Lending. So, this evening, we're going to be talking about the essentials of why you need a title search with every real estate transaction. So, Juanita, that is our question. You can take us through that process of the title.
Yeah, so regardless of whether you're going to purchase residential or commercial, it is beneficial for the person that wants to purchase the property or land or whatever it may be to do a history check on that property or on that land to make sure that it's free and clear of any, we call them clouds in the industry, anything that may be negative, whether
Okay.
that is outstanding liens, whether there's outstanding judgments, whether there are outstanding any negatives that may prevent the ability for title insurance. So there's title, which is an insurance that if you're taking out a mortgage or even if you're paying cash, you want to kind of secure the property that you purchased, Deborah. And let me stop right here and say
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you having me on this podcast. I appreciate you having me here on this evening. We jumped right in, so I
Yes,
jumped right in on
okay.
answering the question.
Absolutely.
But I definitely don't want to not appreciate this opportunity for both of you, having me here, welcoming me here, and giving me this space and the opportunity to promote yourself and your lending practice, and then be able just to share the uniqueness about title, which a lot of people don't know about title insurance, don't care to understand it, and it's not really a process that the consumer has to really contend with. You kind of deal with it more on the mortgage side.
Correct.
Because the lending institution and
Yes.
the bank has a requirement that is necessary to have title insurance if they're lending out money. And then most attorneys, when you're on your commercial end, are the ones that are going to facilitate the connection with the title industry or entity or agency to actually get what they need to make sure that there is nothing that they need to let their clients know about that makes it not a good buy, or what risks they take, because people can be buying things at auction, or people can be buying things that are short sale, or if they're buying things from family members, they need to be aware of whatever the risks may be. You already know that if you're buying something that's on the auction, or if you're buying something at a short sale or a sheriff sale, they automatically are going to have some things on it. So you want to understand what your risks are, which why people will get a title report, which is essentially just the history on the property that's filed either with the different courts, or that have just been filed on record with the municipality itself, wherever that property is located. So title insurance, when you're going through a purchase transaction and you're getting money from a lending institution, the lender requires that the buyer owns a lender's policy for them to insure the money. And the insurance just says that if a previous claim comes up that did not come up when we did the title insurance search, and it is the responsibility, or it took place at a time when the new buyer did not own the property, that you have attorneys, you have a body or an agency such as Chicago Title that has reputable attorneys, expert history, long-term history of being able to fight for the buyer to ensure that they're not responsible to take care of something that happened prior to them owning it. And since the lender requires that the buyer, whether it's commercial or residential, have a policy, we encourage the seller to also have an owner's policy.
Yes. And just one question. So when you're talking about title insurance and getting the policy in the report, do they have to put it in escrow
What's that?
as far as having X amount of monies where they're almost prepaying for the title insurance?
No.
Okay. I was just curious.
Most often, what's escrowed or what's held is your earnest money
Right,
deposit.
got it. Okay.
hmm
Okay.
There's really no escrow for the policy itself.
Okay.
The buyers are paying that at the closing table, the
Correct.
closing disclosure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
hmm
Sorry to jump right in.
Oh, no, fine.
So, again, thank you for being here. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. It's an honor. It's just like, you invited us to your event last June, and we were
I
just
appreciate you being there.
yeah. Oh, we appreciate being there, and
Yeah.
you dropped a lot of good knowledge for us, and you actually just touched on that again just now. And one of the questions I have for you is through this process of examining title of a property. Say if, like, right before the closing date, you come across something as far as like liens or judgments, like tell me how you would navigate through that process.
It just depends on what it is. Which one are you talking about? Some things are easier than others.
Like what do you mean? Like what is considered something difficult, like as far as like
Something that may be difficult is something that you can't get a payoff for. Something that may be difficult is something that just came up and you don't have the finances to pay.
Okay.
It's added to the table money. Something that may be difficult is maybe on the seller side, if they have an LLC and it's been transferred into multiple LLCs and they have to give us information about a previous LLC that is no longer in existence, that can cause some delays in closing because they have to prove that LLC was actually an entity. And they have to give us that information, so that can cause delays on a transaction from the seller side. From the buyer side, it could be a judgment, not having finances in order to clear judgments that they own. It's actually theirs. There's a lot of times judgments comes up and you can just say, oh, that's not me, that's not my birthday, that's not the last of my social security. So you just mark those off, you initial those for the lending institution, for your bank, so that the person can go ahead and go and get the loan monies, and we can move along with the transaction smoothly. But there's other cases where it is them and they don't have the money for the bank in order to satisfy that at the closing table, and so you're kind of at a standstill.
Oh yeah, so like things like you say, like if there's like a tax lien or like a mechanics lien or anything, as long as with these liens or judgment that they have the money to pay at the closing table, then all.
So if there's a tax lien, that's on the seller side. So if we can take that out of proceeds.
Right.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So a tax lien wouldn't be on your buyer, and the seller, we can pretty much, if they haven't already satisfied that,
Yeah.
that can be taken from proceeds, if there's enough proceeds for it to be taken. On the buyer side, it would really be things that are outstanding that they don't have the money to cover the payoff.
Okay.
And maybe they're trying to get money from a family member, or they're really in a pickle. They were hoping to get a grant and now they can't get that grant
Okay.
to help them, with closing costs and stuff like that. Those are more so on the first-time home buyers mortgage side.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about, at closing. So usually it's the title agent who is the closing agent, as we call it.
Yeah.
So, but I also understand at times that attorneys could be the closing agent. So what's the difference between having a title agent, conducting the closing, as opposed to an attorney?
In the state of New Jersey, the attorney can always go through and execute the closing package, the
Okay.
mortgage package.
Okay.
They can always
Do
take the buyer through the package and sign as the notary.
So you're saying the title agent doesn't have to be at the closing table?
A notary doesn't.
But
Not
then-
every title agent is a notary.
Oh,
It's a
so that's a
notary.
good, okay, okay, so that's good to know.
So oftentimes the title company has notaries that will come out, and they like I'm a licensed title producer, but I'm also a notary, so
Okay.
I can sit at the table and do notarizations.
Okay.
If the, let's say, the attorney wants to do the notarization part with their client, they're welcome to do the notarization part, but not every title producer or title agent is a licensed notary. So
Okay.
they couldn't really go through the loan
Okay.
package. They
So-
can be at the closing, but not the actual notary
Yourself,
closer.
Okay. So the attorney would have to be a notary also, correct? Or
They're
is that for-
automatically a notary.
Oh, okay, as far
Yeah.
as being
For the state,
sitting
for the
on the
state
bar.
of-
Okay,
yeah,
good.
They're automatically, they can
Okay.
sign
Okay,
as a
okay,
notary.
okay. So one of the things that I know in one of my transactions I had, and this was out of state and it was in Florida, is when it came to title. So the client that I had, not any problem. They did the title report, and there was nothing, no prior liens, no judgments. It was really good. We closed on time. That was great.
That's a blessing.
2 days later, I get a call from the title agent saying that my client overpaid
Uh-huh.
on their homeowners insurance.
Okay.
And they actually got a check back
Yeah.
for a credit. And I didn't know if that's something that you have seen.
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah, because sometimes through the transaction, depending on how long it takes, they may pay your credit card bill, and it's also a part of the loan.
Okay.
You know, the
okay.
payoff of the loan. So they may either have a credit with their credit card company if they didn't close the card,
Right.
or they may get money back. It just depends on what they work out with the credit card company.
Yeah.
If they like pay the 12 months up front in cash, homeowners insurance, but they didn't sell us, and then we also held it on the
Yes,
closing
and that's-
disclosure.
yes,
then,
that's what hap-
yeah,
okay, okay.
It's something that can happen
Yes.
because a lot of our first-time homeowners are, I don't want to say nervous, but it's the first
Yes,
time.
absolutely.
There's a lot
It's
of
a major purchase.
a lot of
yeah.
a lot of stuff coming at them from different people all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of verbiage, a lot of jargon, and they're just trying to do everything that's going to make it easier for everything to go through.
Right.
And the blessing is they can't get that money back if they overpay.
Yes, so that was interesting.
Yeah.
I hadn't experienced that before, so
Mhm.
I thought that was very interesting. That was good. So as we're moving through now with President Trump's with his big, beautiful bill, is that in any impact on title?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, the bill that I know of hasn't touched the industry of title.
Okay.
Has it touched mortgage or lending in any capacity?
So not so much lending itself, but it seems like it's more of a good thing for investors right now.
Okay.
Because especially if we look at the state of New Jersey, it used to be a time where if you had an annual salary of $100,000, you easily could qualify for a house, which would get maybe around $500,000. We know here in Bergen County, $500,000 is not going to get you that house, if even if it's available. So what we're seeing now is a lot of developers and contractors now, they're building, rental units.
Okay.
Condos and townhouses, that's all you see right now.
Yeah.
And they are not selling them anymore. They are leasing them because it's more of a profit of doing that. And so supposedly I was talking to a couple of investors, they're stating that this is going to be a good thing for them as investors. However, for folks who are looking to make their first purchase, it's not. So, and landlords, I feel, are starting to take advantage of that because they know they can raise rents because most people don't have that 3.5% or 5% to put down
I feel
for down
you.
payment.
I see what you're saying, but the bill itself hasn't changed the banking insurance.
No, it
for
hasn't.
The title,
Okay.
the title sector. At
Okay.
least it has
just
not. The biggest change that I have seen so far is the mansion tax.
Yes.
So that
so there, yeah,
is-
maybe you could speak a little bit about that.
Well, the mansion tax just instead of it being one rate, it is now
Yeah, it's
a
yeah.
staggered
Yeah.
rate.
Well,
Depending on the
Yeah.
millions.
What wasn't already in effect, like the millionaire's tax, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that wasn't that already in effect.
Yes, but it was the same rate,
It was the
regardless
same rate,
of the
regardless of the
amount.
millions.
Yes.
Now it's like,
So if it's 1 million, it's this percent. 2 million, it's another percent. 3 million, yeah.
yeah. So I think 1 to 2 is 1%. 2.5 to 3 is 2. I would have to look at it on my phone. I haven't saved it, but it went into effect in July 10th.
So, yeah. It's been there for about a month. Yeah.
Is it? We already, yeah.
Well, next
We're
week will
already
be.
past,
Yeah, we'll be almost a month.
Yeah, so those that were purchasing and
But I thought it was on the seller side.
yeah, that's
Yes.
the other big thing. It transitioned to
The
the seller
sellers.
paying the
Yes.
transfer, the mansion tax, transfer tax.
So with that said, what, as I was reading, what you're starting to see supposedly is folks would list their house for like $990 or $995 to get around that, paying that. And I'm like, but that's crazy. What if your house truly is worth like 2 or 3 million? Now you're going to have to negotiate. You're going to have to pay that.
Yeah.
And that's what Bergen County is right now.
they're facing that.
Well, as far as as far as your houses around this area, if you want to get something that's real, doesn't have to have a pool or anything, but $1 million is not unheard of in this part of the state.
Yeah. In terms of the title, the big hit went to the attorneys having to explain that change
Yes.
in New Jersey
Jersey.
legislation. For us, it's just a matter of changing it on the closing disclosure.
So I guess in sort of wrapping up, I'm just wondering, when working with, you're not really working with loan officers, sort of, but more of you're just doing the title search just to see.
Well, what do you mean by
So
not
what
working
is
with-
that working relationship with the loan officer when you're the one who's doing the title search for that client?
Oh, it's hand in hand with the closer. So
Okay.
with the upfront mortgage person, let's say you're the sales rep, I'm the sales rep. So we're doing business together. You give me a refinance because that's who I get most when I'm working with direct mortgage people. Because you really don't, as a mortgage lender, there's not always an opportunity for you to direct the title
Correct.
in a purchase. In a
Right.
purchase.
Yes.
In your refinances, I'm not
Oh,
sure
that's
how
true.
much you do refinances.
That's
It's
true.
all on
Okay.
you
Yeah.
to direct your title. So most of my mortgage officers or loan officers that have, high turnaround, people come back to them to do their refinances, come back through them, they will direct refinances to me. And then at that time, it is my escrow team that is working with their closing
Closing
team
team.
and their underwriters to process, just like in a transaction, because it's still a
Yeah.
transaction. They'll be purchasing new title for this new amount of money to guarantee that anything that comes up prior to them having the old loan, they'll be responsible for anything with the new loan, that may not be on them or a previous owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason why I ask is because Wanita and I, we did the one transaction.
Yeah, we did.
With a couple out of, I want to say it was the
It
Brooklyn,
was
I
far.
believe. Anyway, and they bought the house in Sussex.
Yeah.
And I was a little concerned. I thought, wow, you're coming out of the city and going to urban area.
And they were still driving to
rural,
the city for
yes.
work, right? Yeah.
But they got such a great deal on the acreage. Like 20. What I think it was like 21 acres. Or
And they
something
still
like.
wanted to build on it. I
Yes.
think they wanted to do a sister
sister,
or
yep.
something like that.
Yes. So I was going to say we didn't have any contact until really at closing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Front
that's what
end
it's
agents, the sell agents, we just follow up with regards to. I have more interactions with the attorney
Yes.
once it comes to title.
Correct.
less with the lender, unless you're that particular type of lender that's following it through. Like, you're going to be on all the email chains.
Right, right.
If you directed the title to me, then we definitely have more interactions via email, via text, or via phone call. You know, hey, is the commitment back? Everything okay? Hey, we need this or that. But if you like recommended our services, which I love, referrals are my best business. Anybody that can refer, Wanita Dryer, Chicago Title, sales executive, I would love to handle your commercial or your residential transactions. We got you covered. But yeah, so if you refer a client to me that's working with a attorney that is willing to use our services based upon your strong recommendation, then we're going to treat you right. You can call me. Hey, is the commitment back? I can check on it with my escrow team, my individuals that are working behind the scene to read any of the searches that are coming back, any of the things to put together the binder and the commitment in order to give it over to you. So to me, I keep everyone in the loop. That's my business partner. So I'm available for text message, for telephone calls, emails, which are constant.
Yes.
We really make a practice of responding to emails.
So in closing, what would be your advice? I know that you've already put out the ad,
Ah.
but I mean in closing for, let's say for home buyers, especially
Sure.
first-time home buyers, what would be that advice to them when their offer has been accepted, it's been through underwrite, and before it hits underwriting, because that's when, the title search is going to begin?
I guess through the transaction process, because we don't get the title order until after the attorney
That's
review.
true. Mm-hmm.
And so we generally won't get an order until the appraisal is complete, until inspections are done to mitigate any chances of the process not going
That's right.
through. The biggest things that I would tell first-time buyers or any buyers at any stage, if you're using an attorney, make sure you get an attorney that specializes in real estate. It makes a difference through your transaction. Make sure you're upfront with your mortgage lender. They're the ones that start you off with this process. You should have a very strong relationship with your mortgage or your loan officer, and be upfront with them about any changes that may happen to your income, your employment. It truly makes a difference, because once you get into the thick of it and we are pulling title, it can be 30 days, it can be 40 days, and things in your life can happen. If you have changes in your personal or your family life where you have to spend money, we've had some people that had to give money for relatives that have passed away, funeral and burial, and that really made a difference in their closing. It extended it. It causes hiccups. So you definitely want to not shy away when you're in this process, but be as open and as transparent, because the earlier they know, your professionals that are helping you get you to the closing table, the earlier that they know you have things in life that's going on, the earlier they can help guide you through your best practices. So those are my best things. Make sure if your loan officer is who you start with, because that's where you know where to shop. They're going to tell you where you can shop. Your real estate agent is building that relationship with you, so you definitely want to make sure that you're transparent with them. And it's uncomfortable. We are not used to telling people about our financial business, but it is necessary, because what you don't want to do is go so far and then you don't get to the finish line. So be as transparent in this process as possible. Let them know up front if you have financial changes, difficulties, if you're changing a job, because possibly it may be in the same sector and it's not as big of a hiccup with your mortgage and lending partner than what you may fear it is. And then if you are using a real estate attorney and you're in this northern area, make sure you are telling your attorney what's going on in your life as well, even if you don't believe that it matters. It does. It really does.
Yes. So Juanita, I want to thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that wealth of information about titles. And I want to thank our audience for tuning in. And again, I'm Deborah Jo Sherard, a mortgage broker with Expert Home Lending, with my son here, Ricardo Sherard, also with Expert Home Lending. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're
Okay.
welcome. Anytime.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Jordana, for staying.